this is brand new oil fresh out of the jug. And here is the oil after. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB. Most people, when they buy a brand new snowblower, they usually end up postponing the first oil change to the end of the season, or maybe the beginning of the next season. According to this engine manual, Aaron's recommends changing the oil at the first month mark, which is also going to be right around that first 5 hours. Problem is, many people just skip right over this and keep going for the rest of the season. Now, this snowblower did receive a 30-minute engine break-in, which I like to call the dirty 30. We've now crossed that 5-hour mark, and we're right at about 5.4 hours on this engine. Let's get a look at this oil. First, I'm going to take the snowblower, move it outside, turn it on, and let it run for about 5 minutes. This will warm the oil up and help it flow better. Once the 5 minutes is up, I'm going to pull the snowblower back into the garage. I'm going to prop the front end of the snowblower up a little bit. This will help the oil flow out better. All right, we got our 5/8 socket on the oil plug. Let's loosen it up. Here we go. Let's see how she looks. Okay. All right, that's dirtier than I thought she would be. Dirty girl. Looks like she's all done. We're gonna go ahead and tighten this baby back up. Crank it down. You want it snug, you don't want it super tight, you won't be able to get it off without a fight. Good. Before we have a closer look at this oil, let's fill this baby back up. Pull out my dipstick. I'm gonna fill it back up to the correct oil level height according to the dipstick. I'm filling this snowblower back up with 5W30 full synthetic. It flows better in colder temperatures. And to help this video flow better with the YouTube algorithm, would you mind hitting that like button? Thank you. This is SuperTech 5W30 full synthetic, and it performs better than or equal to Mobil 1 in some videos here on YouTube. This oil is cheap, and it performs well. I'm happy with that. All topped off, and we are good to go. The oil line's right between the dots on the dipstick. Now let's have a look at this oil. Check this out. This is brand new oil fresh out of the jug. And here is the oil after our 1 month oil change, or our 5-hour oil change after a 30-minute engine break-in. That's incredible. It's still dirty. There are a few reflective bits inside here, not as many as when we did the 30-minute oil change, but there's still some to be seen. And this is still pretty dark considering that this is what it looks like brand new. A huge difference after just 5 hours. I am once again happy I changed this oil. And at this point, we got a lot of the junk out. As this engine runs, the oil will still get dirty, but it'll take a bit longer for it to get there now. This engine will now be running much cleaner. Now let's break down what the engine manual states to do. Under normal operating conditions, less than 40 hours per year, and that's where a lot of us tend to be with our snowblowers unless we're using it commercially, Aaron states to change the oil at the first month mark. This is probably going to be right around that first 5 hours of use. Then they state to replace it every 6 months. Even in the summer when it's not being used? That's what it sounds like. But the owner's manual says something a little different. It says to change the oil annually or as needed. Little conflict of interest there, Aaron's. Sounds like it. Look, here's what I do, and it's never steered me wrong. Let's break this down. First oil change at the 30-minute mark. Second oil change after the first 5 hours. 5 hours. Technically, according to the Aaron's engine manual, this is where they do their engine break-in. I personally think that's a little too late considering how dirty the oil was at the 30-minute mark and now how still dirty it is at the 5-hour mark. Then what I do, a third oil change at the end of the season. Boom. For the basic homeowner, you cannot go wrong with these 3 steps. It'll help it last longer, and if you change your oil at the end of the season, no contaminants will be sitting in that engine all summer long. Now, when I was back in college, my brother built an engine for a Nissan 240SX. It was a cool, fast car, and my brother told me that he changed the oil just after the first few minutes. Then he changed the oil again at 30 minutes, then again at about the hour mark. Then he began changing the oil after so many miles, and he kept doing this until he got to that 3,000 to 5,000 oil change mark. He broke the engine in the right way, getting all the contaminants and all the wear particles out so that engine could run clean. That engine ran great, and that car was fun to drive. I will also personally follow those similar steps when breaking in any new small engine. Now, some out there may say, well, I never changed my oil, and I never will. You do you, my friend. But I know somebody that once they bought their snowblower, they never changed the oil the entire time they owned it. Then after several years, we had a huge snowstorm. They went to fire that snowblower up, and the engine seized. They were all mad that the snowblower didn't run. Well, of course it didn't want to run. They didn't take any care of it whatsoever. For most people, next to their car, a snowblower just might be the second most expensive item in their garage. They cost a lot of money, and making them last is key. For a peek at just how dirty the oil was after only a 30-minute engine break-in, check out the video I'll have linked down below in the description. I'll also have it linked right up here. Remember, engines are expensive. Oil is cheap. Change your oil. For more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.